Hello, everybody. I'm Karen.
And I'm Steve.
And welcome back to Felix's Helixes. Number 8. We are a Southgate Media Group podcast. You can find us at southgatemediagroup.com and on Facebook by searching for Southgate Media Group and or Felix's Helixes.
We can't be this close to being done.
I know, right? 8.
No.
Bittersweet.
It's getting that way quickly.
I know.
And they just keep packing more and more and more into every episode.
I know.
This season has proven to me that, yes, they have their plan laid out to get to their ending, and every episode they basically got the outline for. Mm-hmm. And they're just having to write it.
Yep, I agree.
Because this has got to happen, this has got to happen, this has got to happen, and this has got to happen.
That's right. And I also think that we're getting season 5 because there is no way they're going to solve this in 2 more episodes.
No.
So, I mean, that's good, but it's bad in that we have to wait another year, right?
Right.
So,
yes.
that's what I have to say.
And this is Season 4, Episode 8, The Redesign of Natural Objects. Mm-hmm. Written by Peter Mohan, who's done Blood Ties and Lost Girl, and directed by Aaron Morton, Evil Dead and the Shannara Chronicles.
Good show.
Yes, it was.
I liked it.
Can't
My
wait for it to
husband
come back.
loved it because he doesn't read a lot, but those books... He read those books.
Nice.
He's big into fantasy books, sci-fi fantasy. So those are his books. And he was like, oh, they made a movie out of those books. No, not a movie, a miniseries. Here you go. And I just dropped it on his drive and he watched it beginning to end. So, good. Yeah, so we got that director and it showed. This was a great episode. I really need to edit my rating. Because I think I rated it too low. I'm going to uprate it. What is yours, speaking of ratings?
All right. I gave it a 9.25 new uses for a battery.
Very nice. What's the 2.5 for? Was it just a little over a 9 for you? So you wanted to nudge it over a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we still didn't, we got not enough Helena.
Okay, so it would have been like a 9.5.
Get more Helena, it'll become a 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm not rating them quite as high as I would. No more Helena means, not a 9.5 for me.
Right.
Which is why I had it at an 8.5. But you're right, it is a great episode, and there is a big reason for putting it at a 9 for me. So 9, and I put yos.
Yo.
Right. And the way she said it.
Was that a Cosima yo or a Rachel yo?
It was a Rachel yo. Where she just says, yo. Right back. So it was 9 yos. Yeah, because it was so out of character for her.
Yes.
Yo, Rachel. Yo. So, yeah, it was a great episode. We both thought so. And my storyline titles, which we will be discussing, are A is Adam and Evie, ? B story is Hey Superstar, Everything's All Right. And of course, that's the Allison storyline, but I wanted to explain that Superstar obviously is the name of a song from that play, but also Everything's All Right is the name of a song from Jesus Christ Superstar. So just so you know, that does make sense if you know about the play. So hopefully some of you know that. I didn't want to over-explain, but I did, so too late. C story is we have to go back. No, not back. Just we have to go.
Yeah.
And our bonus story would be Siobhan's Big Adventure. Even though that kind of dovetails into Adam and Evie, so I wanted to kind of put that as a bonus. All right, so Adam and Evie, and let's combine it with Siobhan's Big Adventure.
Okay.
Because that, Siobhan is part of that storyline in that she is following Duko in this episode. That is an interesting little thing. We did mention last week that she was cleaning her gun.
Yes.
She doesn't clean her gun unless she gonna use it.
Use it.
And that prophecy was fulfilled in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
It was. She had an unsuccessful attempt at first.
Yes.
Because someone got in the way.
Someone unexpectedly got in the way.
Right. And that also led to some issues with a little maneuvering had to be done. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Well, we knew from last week that Donnie had been taken in by Duko.
Right.
She did not rely on anyone to discuss Donnie being taken in. I'm guessing because of Duko, right? She hadn't really leaned on any of her sisters until this episode, and that was only after some duress, right? Because she only called Felix after he put a little bit of heat on her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, she only called Felix after he asked her about where Rachel was, and then she asked Sarah, asking where Sarah was, all the names. And at that point, I don't know what she was considering. I don't know that she would actually give up where Sarah was, even though she asked where she was. How do you feel about that? Do you think she would have given that up?
I mean, when push comes to shove, and your choice is either your husband or your clone sister, Donnie's got to come first.
Which do you choose? Right.
Donnie's got to come first.
Right. Plus, she knows that Donnie can't handle himself and Sarah can.
Right.
So...
yeah, Donnie has no chance in jail. Sarah still has a fighting chance, whoever comes after her with Duko.
Right. However, once she asks Felix that, I think she changes her mind. She doesn't even go through with it right then.
Right.
She changes up right in the center of her phone call and she says, come see me about the play. And it just happens to be after Siobhan has seen her with Duko. And they're trying to convince Felix to go and spy on her. And Felix is saying, now I picked this quote out here where he says, Allison may be uptight, paranoid, and occasionally delusional, but she's not a rat, you guys. And right as soon as he says that, that's when the phone rings.
Mm-hmm. and it's her asking where's Sarah.
Right. And he changes his mind a little bit and he realizes, well, maybe she does need something. Maybe there is something going on. So he does go to see her, and I think they realize that something needs to get done there, right? I mean,
right.
She doesn't want to give up the information, but she does need to get Donnie out from under Duko's thumb, Neolution's thumb as well.
Right.
She's, it's going to be bad in there. So she talks to Felix. Felix, of course, as we theorized, brings Adele in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the first trouble that we have with Adele? You didn't tell me.
Yeah, this is Sarah's twin sister.
Even though we were foster kids.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too hard. Right?
Yeah.
So, hooray. It's a good thing she's not a thinker. Right?
Maybe a little inebriated.
Yeah, well, she could smell the liquor, as Allison says. And at least she seems like a decent lawyer because she is on it.
Right.
She is saying that you can't take away her right to see her husband. And the one line that I picked out was, I don't want anyone frisking you. It's not as fun as it sounds. And Allison gives her a look like, it didn't sound fun at all.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And after also Allison has said to the priest who, okay, I wanted to ask you this question as well. What do you think of that priest?
I have come to the point in Orphan Black, if you're not a clone or Scott or Felix, I probably don't trust you.
Right. Yeah, he seems hanky to me.
Uh-huh. Very ingenuine.
Yeah. I worry about him. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in a place to really spy on Allison.
Listen, yep. And, they've got more than just Duko and the inmate.
Yeah.
Because somebody let the inmate into Dunny's cell. So
Right.
there's got to be another cop involved in this.
Yes.
At least.
And people in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So like guards and things like that. Right. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that there are other people sympathetic to their cause. Other people that she may have twisted their arm.
Mm-hmm. Or paid a bunch of cash.
Sure. She says to him, he's very comfortable in orange. And I'm thinking, that is the oddest statement that I have ever heard. And it made me wonder how much she trusts him. So again,
saying something like that to the priest is...
It's odd, right?
Yes, very odd.
And I am reminded of the fact that he is the one that tried to do this intervention with her a couple seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
He is, I'm guessing, not her very favorite person in the world.
Yeah.
But she is...
She's nosy.
Right. And she's
into their
still
business.
going to that church.
Yeah.
So why? Why is she still going to that church? It really makes me wonder a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, it's not... I mean, I get it because they want to keep the same characters in the show. They want to keep Sarah, the other Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah Stubbs. Definitely got to
Right.
keep Sarah Stubbs.
And she goes to that church. We've already established that she goes to that church because she showed up in that church before. And they want to keep her. And that would, of course, be a good place to put on the play, Jesus Christ Superstar, because it has a spiritual component to it. So, alrighty. Sure. There's that. So she does go to Felix, and ultimately we find out at the end, because they don't let us in on what the plan is. But I guessed that she wasn't going to turn on Sarah. I don't know about you, but I assumed she wasn't going to turn on Sarah. Did you guess that?
Yeah, I figured she wouldn't either. That with everything that MK was providing them, that whatever Allison said was going to be a setup.
Right. So she goes to Duko and she tells him that, and this is after Felix has visited, they visited the prison with Adele, who is, quote unquote, currently under suspension for being inebriated in court, but that's good for you because your bank accounts are frozen. They've been aware that Donnie is in more trouble than they think. Felix has been updated. Felix is updating Sarah and them. So Duko shows up. She tells them that Sarah's going to be at the comic shop at the Rabbit Hole. Now, we're not let in on what the deal is.
No. And when he comes in and you see Sarah slip in before he comes in, because, of course, he's waiting for Sarah to show up.
Mm-hmm. We're not quite sure, are we?
No.
Right. But I never really doubted that she wouldn't, though.
Right.
I mean, there was a part of me that was like, well, she's not going to give up Sarah. She's not going to.
Right.
So even when she came in, I thought, well, there's something else happening here. I never doubted it. So I know that they were trying to make us doubt it.
Oh, yeah. They tried real hard to make us doubt it.
They did, but I never, ever doubted it. I just knew something else was coming at that point. I knew it. And our fears were not founded. I mean, again, it was exactly as we thought, or at least I thought, that they did have another plan, that he was set up, that, whoops. Everybody's there. The whole gang's there. And what did he expect?
Yeah.
Really, what did he expect? Did he expect that they wouldn't be able to make them call off his men on Donnie? I don't get that.
Right.
I mean, did he expect that they wouldn't round up the troops on him at that point? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
That didn't make any sense to me either. You'd think he'd have come in almost like they did when they arrested Donnie with a whole army of them.
Right. Because, yeah, they would have had to in order to get anything over on Sarah, because Sarah's smart, like super smart and wily. And I think Evie knew that. But apparently she left all of this up to Duko? How can that be the case?
Or didn't bother to inform him how smart Sarah was.
Yeah, that must have been it. It had to have been, because I don't know how he underestimated that situation. It was a huge mistake on his part.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. And it definitely ended up backfiring in the biggest way possible. I mean, the biggest way possible. When he showed up, he was the cockiest of the cocky. I mean,
oh, yeah.
He shows up and Hell Wizard's there, which I love that he doesn't have a name besides Hell Wizard. That's the best thing ever, right?
Right, yes.
He says, "What you got there, D&D? Who's in your party?" And then Hell Wizard, and I love that he does all the real D&D talk. 10th level paladin, a 12th level thief, and a half-elf cleric named Albus Dimple Dots. Okay? Dimple Dots. I was a half-elf, by the way. Half-elf thief, because half-elves are small and nimble, and they can be ninjas. So, see. And then he comes back with, "You could run a hell of a campaign with a party like that, unless someone were to roll up a dragon, not some wyvern or some pansy-ass wandering reptile, but a real-life adamantite, white-hot fire breath. You'd have to be a real smart player to survive." And I'm thinking, yeah, but that's not you.
Yeah.
And does he really know that Sarah is who he's talking about? Because it's not him.
Right.
I almost feel bad for him. Kind of, right? I mean, there's a part of you that goes, oh, you poor thing.
Walked right into it, sucker.
Right. How could he have walked right into it? And the bright spot in all this is that once they get to talking to him, and they coerce him into calling everything off on Donnie, the whole thing back at the church when Sarah calls Felix and says, "Donnie's safe." Oh, the acting. So good, right? I mean,
yes, it was fantastic.
Jordan does such a great job of conveying that relief.
Right.
Just complete and utter relief that Donnie's okay. And it's not for Donnie so much, but it's for Allison.
And he is able to convey it with his face, so when Allison sees it, she knows. Right,
exactly. And at that point, Allison is performing. She's been performing, and they're singing the theme, Jesus Christ Superstar, the actual superstar portion. And she's been kind of lackluster through the whole thing. And what I love about it is they do this thing where right as she learns that Donnie's okay, she does the praying thing, where she's looking like she's praying. And then she comes out of it and she's so joyful and happy looking. And it was a 180, a complete 180. And Tatiana does such a great job with that as well. So the acting between the two was so great. And I felt so happy when I watched it. It just shows that how they convey that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so good. I loved it. And then, of course, the scene And the rabbit hole had a whole different tone.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
It's like, okay, we got Donnie saved. We're all going to check out and leave you to S.
Right. Exactly. I mean, there were some things. Sarah wanted to get some information, right?
Right.
Or she says, you're going to want to tell us what Evie Cho's next move is. And then Duko comes back, and I think this is incredibly naive of him. That would not be healthy for me in any way. Yeah, okay, but you're not getting it.
No.
These people are not healthy for you in any way.
Right now, you have a choice to live right now and have a chance for living later, or you can die right now.
Right. And little did he know he had literally minutes left on the planet.
Yeah.
So, telling them was probably his best chance of doing anything. And sadly, he was not in on the plans. Unfortunately, he just was not. Now, he did tell them that Evie had received the go-ahead to use this bot technology.
Yes. The newest upgrade.
Right.
For distribution.
Yes. And she was going to put it in thousands of people under the guise of what?
Gene therapy.
Gene therapy. And he implied that it wasn't really going to be gene therapy, right?
No.
And then, of course, S was asking him, well, what is it for? And he made a smart-ass comment about it. I can't remember, something about, making a better person through DNA in my balls or something like that, right? He said something like that. Pardon my French, but it was literally something like that that he said. And she wasn't happy with that. It wasn't enough information for her.
No. And we see the new use for a battery.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. Don't tase me, bro. Nope, too late. And I love how Duko thinks, he's a dirty cop, like super, super dirty cop. He has been for 4 years now.
Yep.
And he appeals to Art, who is about as straight an arrow as you can get, except for one incident.
Right.
That he did because it was right, essentially, to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he appeals to him. He appeals to him and he says, come on, guy. Aren't you going to help me out? I'm a cop.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, Duko?
Yeah.
This guy just kicked your ass last week.
Yeah. And you're begging him for mercy?
That is so not happening. So not happening.
No.
Yeah, so she tries to get info out of him. And what does she get out of him? Nothing, right? I mean...
Right.
Yeah, because he doesn't know anything. He is her gun, essentially. Mm-hmm. And not the smartest tool in the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And then he basically tries to use family.
Yeah.
Which was just about as dumb can get.
Right? Right? And he says
you just killed
important.
This lady's mother.
Right.
And you're going to throw in a niece?
Not just that, but he killed her mother, right? Mm-hmm. Killed her mother and has been threatening to do things to other members of her family.
Exactly.
As well. As in he was coming to kill Sarah.
Sarah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your niece is in trouble, but you've provided for her, right? Okay, then. Good. I'm glad she's provided for.
Yeah. Because...
You ain't seeing her again.
No.
She's not seeing you again. Both ways. Blam.
And then we get the prior line from Sarah. It's some Black Irish shit, revenge first, consequences later.
Right.
That's what we saw.
Which is exactly what we saw. You're right. The consequences are, however, Scott having to scrub up the comic shop.
Oh, I felt so sorry for Scott.
I did too. I think Mrs. S should have been the one to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the reason for the 9 instead of an 8.5 in my case was Duko getting it.
Oh, yes.
In this episode. Now, the only way it could have been a 9.5 would have been if they had used Angie as the bad cop this season. And
Right.
she would have gotten it. But I am happy that Angie does not appear in this season so far, except for that flashback.
The first episode,
right.
yeah.
But Duko getting shot was a close second
Yes.
to Angie biting it.
Yeah, that was...
That was good.
If only Donnie was there to say, have a shitty day.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. And apologies for the language, you guys, but they use it in the show.
Right.
So we have to kind of, but man, that storyline, so powerful. Duko is the arm of Evie. Evie, as far as we know, doesn't know what has happened.
Right.
Now, she does know that Donnie's in prison and the hit was called off. So I'm guessing that she might think that Sarah's been taken care of.
More than likely.
I mean, because that is the only way that the hit was supposed to be called off, right?
Right. Was Allison had to give up Sarah to save Donnie.
Right. So I don't know if that's going to come into play at all, but... that's where it stands right now. That's
right. It's going to depend on how fast Evie finds out that Duko's no longer available.
Exactly right. And how far she scrambles to get.
Because basically that was really you had Sarah, you had Cosima, and you had Allison.
Right. Exactly.
Cosima's ill, so she's isn't a threat. Mm-hmm. They basically have figured out that Allison isn't a threat.
Right.
Because they've got Donnie to blackmail her. Mm-hmm. So Sarah was the only one they were concerned about.
Right. Plus, Allison at some point will become sick.
Right.
Now, they might want to terminate her at some point, but she's one of those that will eventually become sick. So.
Right. So, yeah, the only real threat out of those three is Sarah.
Right.
And so, yeah, if Evie thinks that Sarah's been taken care of, it might be weeks before she needs Duko again to take care of one of the carriers or something.
Right. It would only be Helena, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Helena's the other one of the two that is an issue, that is self-aware and will not get sick.
Well, yeah.
So those are the two I think she really has to worry about. The other ones, if they become problems, would be issues.
Yeah,
and
but
right
I'm
now,
I'm not real sure that Evie even knows about Helena.
Yeah, me either. I'm not sure at all what she knows about Helena.
Right. And that's, you got the two wild cards are Helena and MK.
Right. Exactly. Now, MK's sick, as we learned in this episode.
Right.
And I'm guessing that's why she came back out of the cold.
Agree with that.
Yeah. Now, Sarah let her back in, but then I think Sarah would have anyway, because she's a sister. I mean,
right.
That's kind of her deal is there's an honor amongst them that no matter what happens, they all make mistakes. Even Rachel, I think, right now she's not going to be a threat to them. So she's more than likely going to get let back in. And it's mostly because of Susan, I'm guessing. Sarah's not going to be chummy with her, but she's not going to say, get out.
Right.
If there's a cure, she's going to let Rachel use it, I'm assuming, because she's one of them. Now, she's not going to be clapping her hands in joy over it, definitely, but, But MK hasn't done anything close to what Rachel's done.
No.
So MK is good. MK is fine. She says, thanks for letting me back in. But I think Sarah just is like, okay, whatever. You're good with me. I'm not terribly upset with you. There's things you've done, but it's, not a big deal. You showed up, on my daughter's computer, but
yeah.
I'm not thrilled about that, but I get what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a reason for that. She's sick, and She wants the cure. So she does have an ulterior motive, but yeah. All right, so we've learned a little bit about what Evie's doing, but we don't know exactly what it is. She has an updated bot, and what is it going to do, right? What do you think it's going to do?
I'm not sure. There's so many different ways that it could go.
I know, right? Is she going to create clones of herself?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my thought, that she's going to create a clone for herself or clones of herself and maybe try and harvest them to make herself better. And then she's going to do that to make money, make clones of people in order to do harvesting for cures. Do you think that might be?
That's a possibility. It sure is.
Because that is not kosher.
No.
And I can see her doing that.
Yeah, because there's absolutely no way one of those bots could be put in somebody and it figure out all the genetic defects in that person and fix them all.
No, but it could pull out DNA.
Yes.
And create some sort of structure. From what we hear, it changed the DNA inside of people. And what it could do is maybe if it was modified, maybe it could pull DNA out, like full strands of DNA, and make some cells maybe inside of the bot. Right. And then that bot could be implanted in a baby, because Brightborn, as we know, is, baby testing, and maybe implanted in a baby, and it could change the DNA of that baby to match whatever DNA it has pulled out of the host. And then they could use that baby as harvesting for the sick person.
Very true.
And that would be utterly gross.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that she's sick with shingles right now. Which
yes, we do.
Horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Shingles is terrible. Yeah. To get it as an adult, it's the worst. I haven't had it. My dad has, though. And it's terrible. So, yeah. Gross. Now, one of the things that has been happening is that MK has hooked up the people on our mainland with the island of Dr. Moreau.
Hacked into her system, just now, sweet can be.
Let me say something. She knows where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the Swan, not out of the realm of possibility.
Not out of the question. I know. I still have a feeling, even though it's kind of progressed in Rachel, this episode, it still would not surprise me if that's something that MK is behind. It really wouldn't.
Yep, me either. Me either. She knows where they are. I mean, she knew exactly where to find them.
Where they were. Mm-hmm.
So that was a good call. A really good call. So she hooks them up, and there are some meetings of, the mad scientists on both parts. And I guess they come to the conclusion that they need DNA from both sides of the equation. And Kendall would have been ideal, obviously.
Yes.
Because she had DNA from both sides.
Both sides, yes. But Cosima, it hits her that if she had a Leda egg and castor sperm, they could recreate Kendall.
Right.
A Kendall cell.
Right. And guess who has eggs?
Yeah.
I mean, castor sperm, you can get that.
Yeah.
That's not terribly hard to get. But Leda eggs are only in 2 places.
Right.
And only one of them is pretty accessible. They don't know about the buried ones.
Right.
So they have to go to Sarah. And Sarah's not thrilled, but for Cosima, because Cosima says, yes, it's the breakthrough we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah gives in and she says, yep, go for it. Take them. And she gets harvested. Now, this is definitely better than the harvesting that was going to happen at Dyad, because they were going to do an oophorectomy there.
Right.
This was just taking some eggs, so that's good. And there's lots of conversation between the two camps, which
Oh, yeah.
I thought was funny. Rachel talking to Ira about his contribution.
Yes.
Which was, yes, I'm sure you're very excited about your contribution, Ira. And one of the things I thought, I laughed at that. I giggled. And then I thought, well, he's not going to do it for reals.
No.
It's literally him in a room with a magazine.
Yeah.
Most likely. So, sure.
Unless there's Air Rachel.
Yeah, okay. There's that.
Or what is it? No, I should have said Air Susan.
Well, yeah, Air Susan. Yeah. And then Cosima chatting with Rachel. Wow, Rachel, I thought you were more into corporate power than hard science. Definitely.
But Cosima actually takes to heart what Scott told her last week, because she turned to Scott and basically said the decision is yours.
Right. Exactly. Not before Scott got in some a little dig. She even cheats at Agricola, which was funny. That's that game they played last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where, and I will never, ever forget this. Where Cosima leaned across the table and her sweater brushed the board. But yes, it's that game. So yeah, they do decide to work with them, and I think it's more because of Susan than anything else. But I don't know about you, but I found the very end before the chopper kind of ominous.
Yes, because Rachel had gotten removed from the team and Ira. So basically it's Cosima and Susan working on this, not the other two. Mm-hmm. That there's our potential lead into season 5.
Yeah. And there's that bit of Rachel looking at the table and, saying that she wants to work with them, looking at the table, seeing the swan sitting there. And then it kind of, glitches in and out. And then you see like the decapitated head of the swan on the table. And then she gets that cold Rachel look, like, yes, she's ready to handle whatever happens.
Right.
And I'm thinking, what on earth is happening? That looks very much like the old Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I'm not sure what is going on with her. It's crazy town, USA.
Right.
Wherever she's concerned. She seems to have gotten better after the near-death experience with her pencil eye. But now, I don't know. I'm worried. And she threatened Charlotte to build, to go into woodworking and build coffins. Should she start with the smallest one first? I mean, that's a little rude, right?
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was, I was a little taken aback by that little interchange she had, where she looks up right after the swan thing, and she's not flustered by it at all. It looks like her resolve has been bolstered.
Restored, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the old Rachel drive and determination has returned.
Right. So what does that mean for us?
Nothing good can come from that.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. But then that's tempered. I mean, they're so good at throwing us off the scent of these things by switching to another scene, a lighthearted scene of Cosima on the chopper, flying to the island. And Scott and her, they're having this conversation over the headset. And Scott says to her, have you thought about how insane you are jumping on a chopper to a mad scientist's private island? And she says, dude, we are mad scientists. Don't be a hater. I love that interchange so much because she is all about the science, isn't she? I mean, whether it would save her or not, I think she would still love what she's doing.
Yes.
because it's all about the science for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's so excited. Not only is she going someplace new and exciting and different, she just seems completely enraptured by the terrain and how beautiful it is.
But being able to work with Susan on trying to find a cure.
Right. And I love it. I love her enthusiasm for things.
Yes.
I love it.
And
And
you haven't seen her this enthused since her and Delphine were working on it.
exactly. And I'm glad she has gotten past that snippiness she had with Scott.
Right. Yes.
That hurt when she
Immensely.
lashed out at him. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay. You were going to say something, so I was waiting. So yeah, I was taken aback by how in awe of everything she is. And I'm worried when she gets there that it's not going to be what she thinks it is because it's Orphan Black.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's going alone.
So you think there's someone else on the helicopter, or what do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Who do you think's there?
Sarah.
Do you think Sarah's there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think Sarah's going along to make sure.
I'm okay with that. I think that would be smart. That's very smart indeed.
Yes.
Because Sarah can definitely take care of herself and can also jump in. Because I think Cosima is a little, when she gets her head wrapped up in stuff, she is not really paying attention.
Right. She can become a little oblivious to everything going on around her.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And it worries me.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a part of me that thinks that Susan, once she has the science nailed down, will not be completely on our side. Like right
That is also a very huge possibility.
right. Right
I mean,
now,
yes,
she
I
is.
think she would use it to cure the girls.
Sure.
But after that, all bets are off.
Exactly. Exactly. And we definitely don't want it to fall into the wrong hands.
Mm-hmm.
And Neolution is no friend of ours.
No.
We know that already. And she is Neolution.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what's the line between Evie and Susan? Where is that line? And are we going to see Ferdinand again?
Oh, we can count on it.
Right. So
I believe that is how Rachel will actually come back into power.
Mm-hmm. With Ferdinand.
Mm-hmm.
Taking out Susan, maybe? And Evie?
Yep.
And or? Yeah.
Probably Evie first, and if Susan gets in the way, then taking care of Susan.
Yeah, because we know there's not a whole lot of love lost between Susan and Rachel. I mean, Rachel feels very abandoned by her. So right now Rachel knows who to stick by in order to get her way.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute she can ditch them for a better way, she will.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes, Ira is not the long-term solution as far as Rachel's concerned.
No, exactly. So Ira and Susan, if they get in her way and they start doing something against what she wants done, then if Ferdinand can help her, then good.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what did I miss?
I don't think we missed too much.
Sarah Stubbs has a wonderful singing voice.
Oh, yeah. And also Sarah Stubbs has played WoW.
Really? She played
Yes.
Warcraft?
Yes.
Awesome. I like that.
Yes, that was on After the Black. Because they had her and Duko and Art on.
Awesome.
And
I'll have to go back and watch it.
yes, definitely. Because the guy who played Duko does know the D&D.
Awesome.
And Art was a little jealous that he didn't get to take out Duko.
Oh, man.
And you can't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, he
True.
owes Duko for Beth, so
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. If he could have beaten him more last week, he would have.
Yes. Yeah, if they weren't in the precinct, Yeah, Duko wouldn't have walked away from that beating.
Right. He wouldn't have.
No.
You are right. But it's good he did because they needed a little more information from him this week. And it gave us a chance to have Siobhan take out her, what did we call it? Black Irish shit?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. I think Siobhan needed that. And it was well-deserved in this case.
Oh, yeah.
He was, that wasn't just for his niece. He was a bad guy.
Yes.
A bad guy. Really a bad guy. So, yeah. So I'm going to have to go back and see. Maybe she says, does she play Alliance? Do you know? Did she say? I need to figure these things out. If she plays Horde, I'm with her all the way. If she plays Alliance, then...
No, I don't think it was Alliance.
Then I spit on her. Because Horde. Loktar Ugar, Horde. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. That's just my thing. I play Horde. Mm-hmm. They're the underdogs, always. So we're going to the island, Siobhan's big adventure, Hey Superstar, Everything's All Right, and Adam and Eve. Yeah, so I think that's it.
Yep.
For this week, at least.
Yes.
And we do have feedback.
Yay!
From Christina. I haven't listened to it. All I did is make a quick edit of it. I didn't even listen to it when I edited it. So, crossing fingers that it came out all right. Here we go.
Hi, Karen and Steve. That was an absolutely wonderful episode of Orphan Black. I give that episode 9 out of 10 dead swans. That episode was so intense. I'm not sure that I'm giving it that high of a score because I loved that episode that much, but I had to give it a high score because it evoked so much emotion in me and was so well put together. With the music and the camera angles and everything just really came together. Of course, the reason why I can't have a perfect 10, still no Helena. Mm-hmm. So Rachel is still seeing a swan, and once in this episode when she saw the swan, it was dead. To me, this symbolizes that time for Lita is running out, and they have to work together to find a cure. And maybe Sarah will be the answer after all. Last week, Beth told her that she's the glue that holds everyone together, and this week they're using her eggs plus Ira's sperm to make a blast cell that is the closest to the original genome. I believe this is a brilliant idea. So now we know why MK has come back out of the shadows, because she is beginning to exhibit symptoms. And I hope that Rachel can play nice, because I think that there is no way they can win without all working together and doing their part. Which probably means all the Sestras are bonded together. So I think this will bring Helena back and into the story, because something will tell her that her Sestras need her and she needs to come back. That's very interesting that they had Allison play Judas in the Jesus Christ Superstar play, because right. Judas betrayed Jesus, and it looked like Allison was betraying Sarah. But as we saw, that all turned out okay in the end. Unless, of course, you're Detective Duko. That line about his niece, that he was doing this all for family, I wonder if that was just a nothing line, or if Duko is more involved in this story than we ever thought. Maybe his niece is a clone, and she's sick, and he got into the organization for money and answers. Who knows? On this show, I can never figure it out. Catch you next week, Clone Club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Although I think he's too stupid to have been involved further, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think she was leaning on his niece, but I also think he was okay with being a bad guy.
Right, yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, all that money wasn't just for his niece.
Right. Oh, yeah, he was lining in his own pocket. You know, Mrs. S brought up that he had money also in an offshore account.
Right.
So he said he was setting aside some of it for his niece. And the stuff that was in the offshore account was not being set aside for his niece.
No.
So I'm guessing that the stuff that was in the Caymans or whatever, that was for him.
Yes.
And that is never going to be found now. That is just going to be out there in ether.
Well, except MK will
MK will
find
take it. There we
and
go.
take it.
Yes, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
MK should take it, definitely.
Yes.
And use it
Increase that 3.7 million to, 5.5 and,
Sure.
Be able to get whatever Clone Club needs.
That's right. Good idea. I like that.
Get them their own jet.
That's right. Well, they do know about it, so it's easy enough to get now.
Yep.
Yeah, so thanks, Justina. That's fantastic.
And thank you for bringing up the point that Allison was playing Judas.
Yes.
Because we did not touch that.
I meant to mention it.
Yes, I did too. But
yeah. It was very subtle that she was playing Judas. But yeah, it was a funny little touch that she was playing Judas.
We love our feedback from Justina.
Always. Feedback from anyone. And if you would like to give feedback, how could they do that?
Well, our deadline is Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can shoot us a message on facebook.com/Felix's Helixes.
/
All right. I'm going to keep doing it just because it bothers you.
You can. It's all right.
You can typey out an email and send it to felixeshelixes@gmail.com. Or you can tweet at us at one of three accounts, one being at Felix's Helixes, or at Oliveria, or at Salyer Steve.
That's right. Or all three, or two, or any combination.
Absolutely.
That's right. Please feel free to follow us at any of those accounts. We would love...
We have a grand time live tweeting, believe me.
Yes. We would love to have you on Facebook as well. I've been posting some stuff there. So please feel free to join up there. And if there's any news in the off season, as soon as we're done in a couple of weeks, sob, I'll be posting news and all that on our Facebook page, and I'll be tweeting out stuff as well. So continue to follow, and we'll have all that stuff up as well. So, spoilers. Clappity claps. Next week will be the mitigation of competition. Season 4, episode 9 airs June 9th, 2016 at 10 p.m. real time. By the way, I just thought I'd put in here on our Made of Steel podcast web, Facebook page.
Right.
Someone posted the results of a quiz of it wasn't a quiz. It was like a study done, a scientific study that said, what do you consider the real time zone?
Right.
And it was by far the Eastern time zone that was picked, even by people that were in other time zones. They picked Eastern. And so I was thrilled when that came out. And it actually said real time zone, like I have said real time zone. And of course, Emily had some stuff to say about that, but...
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
But when it got posted, I think it was Chris, I'm not sure, posted it on our Facebook page. I was like, yay, thumbs up, happy face. I was very happy. So anyway, it comes on at 10 p.m. Eastern.
GMT. That's the
it's,
rule.
plus 5 GMT or negative 5?
Yes, it's plus 5.
Plus 5. Plus 5 GMT.
Yeah, because we're in daylight savings time.
Okay.
Normally it's plus 6.
Okay. With Susan Duncan deposed, Sarah finds herself in the same position as Rachel, under the heel of a new HBIC, causing the arch enemies to come together for the greater good. Cosima and Susan butt heads on the ethical implications of human experiments. Meanwhile, when the Hendrixes' legal counsel, Adele, further investigates Donnie's case, she begins to suspect Felix is keeping deep secrets. Helena's arrival, yay, forces Felix to make a difficult decision.
Interesting.
Yes, lots of interesting, actually.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, it is. Lots of so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So many feels. And forces Felix to make a difficult decision. That makes me worried because there was a tweet that says you need to prepare yourself for this next episode. And Jordan actually retweeted it and says, I concur.
Uh-huh.
And so that sentence right there, that last sentence worries
Right,
me.
because, yes, if Helena shows up at Felix's and Adele pops in,
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to get by with explaining it as
Another twin
triplets.
sister. Right. No, he's going to have to do something. Yeah. And it sounds like something bad is going to happen, and I don't like that.
No.
I do not like it. And I don't trust Adele as far as I can throw her.
No.
And since she's so full of alcohol, it's going to be hard to throw her without sloshing. So, yeah.
Getting it all over yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So it sounds like a really great episode next week. Let's see if we can go higher than 9.5 or
Right.
9.5.
Yeah, I think the Sarah and Rachel stuff will be absolutely fantastic.
I think so too.
And I truly believe the Cosima and Susan stuff is going to be fantastic.
Yep, we alluded to that actually while we were talking, that, Susan is definitely going to have a different direction she wants to go with the research.
Yep.
And Cosima's not. She wants to cure people and that's it.
Yeah.
She don't want to use it for anything else. So there's that. And then, of course, Susan, Sarah, and Rachel and all that stuff. Yeah, so many things. And then I think we're going to be all on the island and then just with the Hendrixes next week. Felix and Helena being an offshoot of the Hendrixes.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited.
I am too. Can't wait to see where the end of the season takes us.
I know. Are we going to have a cure by the end of the season? What do you think?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Cautiously, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. Cautiously, yes.
I am optimistic we will have a cure by the end of the season.
Yeah. I'm going to say I think if they don't have a cure, they are super close. Super
That'll be
close.
the cliffhanger.
Right. Yeah, because I think they're pretty sure they're going to get another season.
I think so too.
Yeah. All right. So tell us what you guys think. You have all our information to send us feedback. Let us know. Do you think they're going to have a cure by the end of the season? Where do you think next week's headed? Let us know. And we'll be back next week to talk to you.
Yes, we will. Later, Clone Club.